Hi, this is Thomas Festus Kudu, and in today's episode of our Excel Today series, we are looking at pivot tables and how we can use the pivot table to summarize and analyze data in a more efficient way. So to do this, we have a very simple data here. So we have our employees here and our operational areas. Then we have the department, and then we have the employment type for each of them. So some of them are on contract, others are on full-time basis, and then we also have some who are doing part-time with us. Then these are the annual salaries that we are spending for each of them. So what we want to do is to analyze the salaries in terms of the employment type and then the department and our operational areas. And one of the key tools that we can use for this purpose is a pivot table. But before we go on with the pivot table, I want to show you how we can do this using normal Excel formula. And one of the key formulas that we can use is the sum if or the sum ifs. So here I'm going to use the sum if. So I'm going to type the contract here and look at the total salary that we are spending on contract employees. So I'll just type equals sum if, and my range will be the employment type here, and my criteria will be the contract here, which is in G11, and then the sum range will be the salaries. Now press enter and we can see the total salary for the contract employees. Okay, so I'm going to clear this off and then do the same thing using a pivot table. So I'll just select any cell within my data and then go to insert and then pick a pivot table. So you want to place this in a new worksheet. So I'm going to uncheck this option. We don't want to add this to the data model. So I'm very sure we'll have a video on the data model later. So I'll click OK. So now we have our pivot table pane here. So here we have four areas. So a pivot table has four areas. We have the filters, the columns, the rows, and then the values. So it's only numerical data that we can place in the values area. If you try to place any categorical data, by default, Excel will count it. So now we can put the categorical data within the rows section. And if you have any date or a time data, we can place it in the columns section. So here I'm going to drag the type and place it in the rows area and put the annual salary within the values field. So now we can see the total salary for each of our employment type. Or better still, I can remove these ones and just check the type and check the annual salary, and it will be placed within the rows and then the values field. So now we can see the total salaries for each of them. So this is exactly the same result as we got when we use the sum if. So we are seeing the total salary for each of our employment type. So maybe you don't want to see the values, but you want to look at it in terms of percentage. So what we can do is to drag the annual salary here again, and then this time we are going to change the settings. So I'll just click on the drop down here and go to the value field setting and then change it to show values as, and then here I'm going to pick percentage of the grand total here and then click OK. So now we can see the percentages. So we can see roughly we are spending like 58% of the total salaries on the full-time employees, which is logical because this is where we pay most of the salaries. So now we have our first pivot table. Now let's see how we can filter this pivot table using a slicer. So to do this, we can select any cell within the pivot table. We go to the pivot table tools, we pick analyze, and you can see a slicer here. So now we can filter this data by department or by our operational area. So we can pick the department and click OK. You can place it here. So now I can filter this data using the department. So you can see that some of the departments will only have full-time employees. If you take ABC, ADC, we have only full-time employees. If you take logistics, we have just contract employees. If you take operations, we have contract and then the full-time employees. So we can use this slicer to control this pivot table. So let me clear off the filters here and then delete this. So now let's look at how we can insert another pivot table. So to insert another pivot table, there's no need for you to go back to the original data and then go through the process again. Okay, so we can go back to where we have our first pivot table and we can copy this pivot table and then place it in a different place and then change the arrangement or the layout of the pivot table. So what we can do is to use Ctrl A to select the whole pivot table and then use Ctrl C to copy. And we can use Ctrl V to paste it here nicely. So by this time, we are not looking at it from the type. So we are going to take the type out. So we want to look at it from department. So we can place the department in the rows area and we can see the salary for each of our departments. So with these two pivot tables, we can go ahead and insert a slicer that will enable us to filter the two of them at the same time. So here I'm going to show you how you can link a slicer to multiple pivot tables. So to do this, I'll just select one of the pivot tables, go to the pivot table to analyze, and then you pick a slicer. So now I want to filter it by the area. So I'll just check this and click OK. So we can see our operational areas here. So if I want to see it from maybe the west area, I can click on it. From the main or any of them, I can filter this data with it. So currently you can see that the slicer is connected to just the second pivot table, but we can go and change the settings so that it can be connected to the first pivot table. So I'll just select this, then go to the slicer tools, then go to options and then go to report connection. So here you can see that the second one is checked. So now we are going to check the first one as well and then click OK. So now we'll be able to filter the two of them using a single slicer. So this is about the pivot tables and how you can connect a slicer to multiple pivot tables. In the subsequent videos, we are going to look at more advanced features of the pivot tables. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for more videos.